on the other side of the lake right there's a place called Skater's Cabin, and that's kind of where the whole thing with Romeo started, the Black Wolf here. Now, did everybody see Romeo in the visitor center? And did you see the plaque on the way down to Nugget Falls? Well, what happened was there was a man that lived here about 20 years ago. His name was Nick Johns, and he lived with his wife and their dog, which was a white lab called Dakota. And they lived on the other side of the lake out there, a place called Skater's Cabin. And in their house, they had a really big backyard right near the woods. And one day Nick was out there, and he was just sitting there having a cup of coffee in the morning with his dog by his side. And all of a sudden he's looking across out the backyard, and right at the edge of the forest, he saw a black wolf. And that black wolf was 120-something pounds, a big black wolf, which is bigger than most of them around here. And we don't have a whole lot, you don't see very many wolves here. I've been here since 19 and I've yet to see one. So he was already amazed. And what happened next really shocked him was that his dog, Dakota, took off running right to the wolf. And he's freaking out thinking, you know, that wolf can eat my dog. And Dakota went all the way out to him, and they kind of bowed up at each other, you know, with the back of their, little bristles in the back of their neck and everything. But then they, all of a sudden, they kind of bowed at each other and started playing. And they played for a half an hour or so, and Nick's just watching it, and he's just shaking his head because he never imagined that he'd never seen anything like that. And then after about a half an hour, the wolf went back into the woods, and Dakota came back, all just jogging back. And Nick went inside and told his wife all about it, and his wife wasn't near as happy about it as he was. And she's like, we could have lost her dog there. And she called Dakota. Well, after talking about it for a little bit, they kind of decided, it was a one-time thing, and, something to be kind of amazed by. Well, the next morning, Nick goes outside and takes Dakota to go to the bathroom, and Dakota just takes out running again, and there was the black wolf again, and they start playing again. And this went on for about a week or two, and then one day his wife was cleaning up the living room and opened up the blinds, and they had they could see the lake, and right by the lake was the black wolf. And she turns to her husband and she goes, damn, Romeo is sitting there waiting for Dakota again. And that's how Romeo got his name. And then people in the neighborhood started hearing about it, and other people started coming up and watching and seeing the wolf, because Nick could get as close as 10 foot with the wolf. And then other people started bringing dogs up, and Romeo would play with all the other dogs. And he didn't, there were some that he liked more than others, but for the most part he never bit any of them, and he actually got attacked, a little bit by some of the dogs, but he never bit back or anything. The only instance that there was a little bit of an incident was a pug ran right up to him and kind of scared Romeo a little bit, startled him, and he picked it up by the scruff of the neck, but as soon as he realized that it was a dog, put it right back down again. Well, then people in the neighborhood and from outside the neighborhood, everybody would start coming in, and Romeo he was kind of like a folk hero around here. And then people started bringing squeaky toys, and they'd play fetch with them. And Romeo was really good at playing fetch. He fetched everything, but he just wouldn't bring anything back. He would take off in the woods with all kinds of different toys and squeaky toys and stuff like that. Well, he was around here for about 6 years, and then he passed. And the vet who, after he passed, kind of did an autopsy on him, and he ended up living to be about 8 years old, which is about 3 times longer than the average hog wolf lives around here. The average age for a hog wolf is about 3 years old. And after he passed away, they kind of went out looking for his den. And one of the neat things that they found was this humongous pile or squeaky toys that he had just piled up and kept them and everything. So, and they had a big ceremony after he passed and everything, and they did the memorial, did the plaque, and then ended up putting them up in the visitor center. And if you go online, it's very cool. They got all kinds of pictures of Romeo playing with other different breeds of dogs. And you see some of the best pictures, and you can actually see how big Romeo really was. He was a really big wolf. But then that's kind of the story of Romeo. Now you're really going to enjoy the gardens that you're going at right now. It's all man-made, and the guy that did it all, very interesting guy. They got some of the best guides that I've ever seen here, and it's a very cool place. As soon as I get there, there'll be a representative come on the bus to give you a little bit of, tell you about what's going to happen, and then he or she will lead you off the bus, and you'll head on down and go up on the hill and everything, and you're really going to enjoy it. When you get down from the top of the mountain, you'll be able to, they have a nice little cafeteria, and they also have a really nice souvenir shop. I'll be going around, you'll see me and my comrades here that's on the bus, and I'll yell about what time they will get back on the bus and everything. Don't go down by the bus area until I'm down there with you, because we have buses backing up and go pulling forward. I don't want anybody to get run over. Now, where did y'all go yesterday? Or is this your first stop? First stop, okay. Has anybody seen the ravens in town at all? Or y'all haven't even been in town? We have a lot of ravens in this city. And they're by far my favorite bird. And I got a lovely relationship with them. Last year in May was my 60th birthday, and I was loading up one of my tours, and the ravens flew right over my head and just completely unloaded on me right before my tour started. And it was not the greatest thing in the world. And I thought my whole day on my birthday was going to be bad because I couldn't. I tried to reach my kids. I couldn't call them. Couldn't talk to my grandkids. And then the birds crapped on me. So I thought it was just going to be a bad day. But then the rest of the day turned out really well. And I guess in some cultures, a bird swooping on you is supposed to be good luck. And I kind of doubted it at the time. But the rest of my day, the tour went really well. And then my parents took me out to dinner. And we hire a bunch of young Mormons from Utah that work with us. And just very good kids. Well-mannered and just good-hearted people. And about 10 o'clock at night, they come knocking on my door. And I open up the door, and there's six of them just standing there with a big old birthday cake. So it ended up being one of my best birthdays I've had. And I give it all the credit to the ravens.